talk about the cost of growth and of personal development. That's why we're here, right? We're here to figure out how we can play to our full potential. We're here to be better. We're here to explore what we're capable of. So why are we so resistant to investing in ourselves? We think of the cost of growth in terms of the monetary aspect. We think about how much we're going to spend on a retreat, on a weekend coaching group, on a mastermind group. We think about that, but that is the expense. The cost is what happens if you don't do it. The cost is the cost of staying the same. And if we can start to differentiate between the expense of growth and the cost of staying the same, then we can really see how valuable it is and how important it is that we invest in ourselves. My name is Patrick Menefee, and I'm here to help you level up your money, your mindset, and your mission in order to help you become the best possible version of yourself and become who you're capable of becoming. Now, this video is a part of a newsletter that also goes out every other week. You can subscribe down below and you'll get that delivered to you. It's called the Menefee Monday Motivator, and that'll get delivered to you every other Monday in your inbox. So let's put things in perspective for a minute. Ed Mylett, if you've heard of him, he's an amazing speaker, motivational speaker, amazing businessman. He has a definition of hell that I think is very fascinating. He said that his definition of hell is he dies and he meets the person that he was supposed to become, and they are not the same person. And he looks at himself and realizes who he could have become if he put in the work. So my question to you, what are you doing right now to make sure that you are becoming the person that you're supposed to become, the person that you're capable of becoming? That's what this channel is all about. That's what I'm all about in my businesses. A lot of times we lose sight of this because we are so focused on the cost of growth that we don't think about the benefit. We can't qualify the benefit like we talked about before. So let me give you two main examples that will help illustrate this point. First of all, I have a good friend that is my CPA. Mark works with a lot of higher ticket clients, which means that he has expensive tax plans. He does all this work to come up with how much he's going to save someone, and the initial implementation is he's got a fee of $10,000 sometimes. Maybe sometimes it's more. But in the story that he shared with me recently, it was $10,000. And this $10,000 tax plan was going to save this individual $50,000 or more, maybe even more. $10,000 today. It's October right now. $10,000 today, so that come April, May, June, $50,000 is back in your bank account. Is that a good investment? Just for perspective, that's a 500% return on your investment. Or if you annualize that, it's 1,000% return on your investment because it's only 6 months. That is incredible. That is insane. You'd be stupid not to take that. But people say no. Why do people say no? It's uncomfortable. You've got to spend the $10,000. The cost of growth is $10,000. The cost of staying the same is not receiving $50,000 back. It's spending $50,000 more than you should on taxes, or $40,000 more. I'll give you one other example. I worked with an amazing coach, Aaron Velke, for a year and a half. And along the way, we got partway through, and it wasn't cheap. I put a lot of money into this. Along the way, I had a conversation with one of his prospects that wanted to talk to someone who was in his coaching program. And one of the things that the guy asked me was, what's been your return on investment? Have you seen your investment come back to you? And I just kind of chuckled, because it depends how you measure it. If we're talking financial ROI, absolutely not. At that point, when I started working with Aaron, I was building a flipping business. By the time that I talked to this gentleman, I had shut down the flipping business. I had pivoted to something else. I had bought a lawn care company. And no, my financial return was nowhere. I actually had probably gone backwards, but that wasn't the point. I was a different person. If the focus was, what is my return on investment towards flipping houses, then abysmal failure. If the return on investment was, how am I a better person that is closer to becoming that person that I'm supposed to become, the return is infinite. There's no question that every dollar, every $2,500 a month invoice that I paid was 1,000% worth the investment, because the return was me. The return was the growth of me personally. So why do we say no to these investments when it really makes no sense? Why do we say no to investing $10,000 and receiving $50,000 back in a tax savings? There's two reasons in my mind. One is known versus unknown. We know what it feels like to hand over that money. We know that that is going to leave our account. We know that tomorrow, if I spend $10,000 on Mark's tax savings plan, I'm going to see $10,000 drained from my account or get added to my credit card bill tomorrow. I don't know 6 months down the road with 100% certainty that I'm going to get that back and I'm going to get that $50,000. But the problem is, we do that same thing with real estate. We do that same thing in our businesses. We put money out knowing that eventually we're going to get a return back. There's the known of I'm going to shell out money to put a down payment into this rental property, but it's going to take months before, or years even, before I start getting that money back. We're okay with that. Why are we okay with that in real estate, but we're not okay with it in ourselves? I think part of the reason for that is really driven by the example with Aaron of personal growth. Change can be scary. growth can be scary. We talk about you gotta put your money where your mouth is. The thing about this investment is you gotta do the opposite. You gotta put your mouth where your money is. If you're gonna invest $2,000 in an event, in coaching, you invest $2,000 a month, you gotta show up. You gotta do this shit. If I look back at the last 18 months, I'm an entirely different person right now than I was 18 months ago. The expense of getting into that was terrifying. It was expensive. I spent a lot of money over the past year and a half on this, on mastermind group, on retreats, on the coaching itself. The cost would be not being the person I am today. The cost would be still being stuck in the same shit that I was stuck in a year and a half ago, miserable in the work that I was doing, versus where I am right now, where I'm absolutely fulfilled and love what I'm doing, and it is making money. That cost, the idea of going back and saying, you know what, I'm not gonna become that person because a couple $1,000s is too expensive, that hurts too much. That cost is horrifying. And I can't imagine if I had said no 18 months ago because of just thinking about the expense. So if you're in that position, how do you get around that? I'll give you a couple of options. One, again, think about the end. Think with the end in mind. Don't think about, well, how much is this $10,000 investment going to return me? How much is this $10,000 tax plan going to return me? Think about it from the other end of how much would I pay to receive a $50,000 tax benefit 6 months down the road? Shift that perspective. In the case of personal development, it's not what is my $2,000 investment going to get me? What is my $5,000 investment going to get me? It's how much is it worth to be in a position where I love what the fuck I do every day? How much is it worth to become the person who is so proud of the work that I've done, of the work that I'm doing and what I'm building? That is 100% different than where I was a year and a half ago. How much is it worth? How much could I spend that it would be worth doing that? Or on the flip side, how much would be too much to get there? Think about how much is it worth to not experience that version of hell that Ed Mylett talks about? How much is it worth to become the person that you are meant to become? The person that you're capable of becoming? Is it worth giving up on that to save a couple $1,000s? Is it worth not going down that path because it's a little uncomfortable and because the end result and the return is unknown? Is it worth not going down that path because you got to spend the money and also you got to put in the work and because it's going to be uncomfortable? Or is it worth it in the end when you stand on the other side and you look back and you say, holy shit, that wasn't easy, it wasn't cheap, but damn, this is great. There's discomfort and growth. There's discomfort and change. That's a given. I'll give you that. But there is misery in not becoming the person that you're meant to become. If this resonated with you, click the little like button, subscribe to the channel, talk about this stuff all the time. This is what I love. This is what I focus on. This is what my business is built around. If you disagree, let me hear about it in the comments. Share. Love to hear what you think. Love to hear how you push back. Love to hear objections. I know they're out there. Is it worth investing in the cost of growth? Is it worth bearing that cost of growth to avoid the cost of staying the same? I think, and I know that the answer is yes. But what about you?